All right, everyone, come on in. Just like we've been doing the past few weeks, we're going to be taking a few minutes here to let people come on in, settle around the virtual campfire as we get our notes pulled up and get some stuff finalized. Come on in. It's going to be a fun episode tonight. We got a new segment for y'all that we're debuting. Adam may or may not be doing some creepy Halloween sound effects. Okay, so we're gonna workshop those creepy Halloween sound effects. But come on in. We're finalizing some notes right now, but we'll be starting here in just a second. So get those questions ready.
Pretty creepy.
Not at all. You're like if the crypt keeper was a little pull string doll.
I'm terrified personally.
I think they're pretty scared at home right now, Josh.
I think they're scared.
Listeners are at home.
How bad that is.
Yeah, they're going to be sleeping with the nightlight on tonight, no doubt.
No doubt.
Was ready for Halloween? The kids? Have you got the costumes for the kids?
Yes.
Maybe we should save this for the pod since it's getting close.
It's true.
We had a big time. If you go back, that's some of my favorite episodes is spooky season from last year where we had the talk about just get them in a van. I was saying this is not a safe road to trick or treat on.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be very dangerous for the children.
Yeah.
See how we sound.
It'd be very dangerous for the children.
We sound good. We sound very good.
We look good too.
Look good.
Hella snacks.
Look good. Play good.
Sitting there punching the mic.
How many? We got at least 20, 25 people in here right now.
I mean, it says 2,500. So
let's fucking go.
God, Connor. Thank God we're not on the audio podcast.
Nobody heard that.
Cards in. We're good, boys. You ready?
Broke God's law. You broke Big 3 law and you broke God's law.
This will be Connor's last episode.
That's it. He'll be suspended next week.
Suspended without pay.
Who was the reporter that got
somebody for
Ian Rappaport?
Ian Rappaport got hit with the Manscaped.
Yes, that was it.
The New Yorker reporter got hit for pulling out his ding dong on a Zoom call.
Well,
what? Suspended. Yeah, a New Yorker reporter and like a correspondent for like CNN or I don't know, something like that.
I think it was maybe masturbating on a Zoom call.
He didn't do it. He didn't.
I don't think he knew
purpose.
what was on.
Right. He didn't realize his camera was on.
I don't think he knew. No way, dude. You know you're going to jail big time.
Why in the proximity of a Zoom call do you get it out to wank it though?
Dude,
that's what I'm trying to understand.
People don't understand the internet and webcams and Zoom. I mean, I'm sure there's been people on there straight up naked showing up for Zoom calls.
This dude works for the New Yorker. He's not like someone working in like Allen County Public Schools who's doing Zoom for the first time.
Hey, let's not disparage Allen County.
Right. That was.
I'm sorry, Muhlenberg County.
Okay, there we go.
Better.
We can all throw shade towards them.
All right, here we go, boys. You ready?
Let's go.
It's the big three. It's the dream team. Adam, Bobby, Josh, you got the news feed. It's the big three. It's the dream team. Big three IDP. Let's go.
What's up, you diehards, you degenerates, you lovers of defensive football? This is Josh Raymer, and we are back with another episode of the Big Three IDP podcast. And joining me here in the Sode Shack tonight, a couple fellers who are very much looking forward to Halloween. To my right, Adam Markham. To my left, Connor Raymer. I cannot say your name for some reason.
This is
You're
few
my own brother
in a row.
Connor Raymer. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing wonderful. We got some really nice weather here in BGKY.
Yeah, unless you have sinus problems, and then it's like, oh God, what is happening?
Oh, hey, you need to enjoy it. Cherish it.
Hey, I was out on the mower today, so
80 degrees. Right. That's what it was during
that's
the day.
what it was.
It's like 75 right now.
Yep.
We're in short sleeve tees. You know, we're looking good.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Got the Big Three shirt on. If you're watching the live stream, which we appreciate everybody checking it out.
Yeah, ask some questions if you want.
Yeah, just get in there.
Jump in the stream, girl.
Yeah, just pop some cues in there. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us tonight to check out the live stream. We appreciate everyone, sticking with us, Addy. This is typically the time of year where people start to check out a little bit.
Yeah.
Start to check out of their leagues. We start to see a little bit of a dip in terms of numbers, but we appreciate everyone sticking around. we're going to try to bring you some good quality content week in and week out. So even if you're checked out, check into Big 3 because it's going to be a good time each week.
I mean, what better do you got to do? It's still Rona season. It's very hard right now. It's still hard to kind of get out and do stuff. Live. I mean, you can, but you feel a little guilty about it. So, I mean, I think teams or people are keeping up their teams a little bit longer this year. I mean, I've been pleased with the numbies.
Numbies have looked good.
Very good numbies.
Great numbies. And a lot of leagues too. I know we're not in any leagues like this, but I have a lot of friends who I think a reason to stay motivated and stay tuned in is I know a ton of leagues for the friends I'm in that have loser punishments. So if for nothing else, if you are in, unfortunately, one of those leagues that does that, give you a big motivation to stay tuned in, know what's going on, and don't check out even if you know you're not going to finish first.
It's insane to me that there are leagues out there that have like tattoo punishments.
Yeah, big time stuff.
Can you imagine putting something on your body for something as stupid as coming in last place in a fantasy football league?
That's your own fault. Get out of that league if you're doing that.
Or just don't do it. Like there's no like legally binding contract. You're not going to be thrown in jail.
Well, I mean, but you kind of feel like you have to, if you're if you signed up for it and agree to do it,
here's the thing.
That's like
no lie. If you feel like you have to do it, you probably deserve to be in that stupid of a league.
You got to be a man of your word.
Listen, here's the worst part about all this.
Connor's like, I got a tattoo of my friend's face on my butt cheek.
This is insane. We jokingly at one of my leagues I'm in with all my college buddies, some of my best friends, and we made a remark at a restaurant after we had maybe possibly had a few beverages, and it was just the line was loser bungee jumps. And it was basically last place is supposed to bungee jump there in Pigeon Forge because that's where we did the draft at Dave and Buster's there. And it was awesome.
That'd be a great place for
we were going to do the same. They rented us a private room. They had a buffet style food. They had a big TV and board. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was awesome. But anyway, we did all that, and it was the best. But that was the line everybody kept coming back to. They're like, yes, loser's supposed to bungee jump. Well, thank God. One good thing Corona did was cancel that draft being able to go to Pigeon Forge because my dumbass was supposed to bungee jump because I did come in last. So that's off record.
Saved by the Rona.
Cut this part out, actually. I don't want this to be like legally binding.
All your friends now are going to be like, wait a minute, Connor's supposed to bungee jump. He's bungee jumping next year.
No, they have not forgot. People don't forget. No, they
will.
As soon as we go back to Pigeon Forge, if you don't think they'll do basically everything besides take me at gunpoint, that's a quick early Connie's Corner. I know I'm kind of jumping the schedule there, but that's a little throwback story for you.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah, we had the Vegas story a couple weeks ago. Always enjoy a trip to Connie's Corner. Usually which involves some kind of drunken shenanigans and nights we don't remember with the friends we also don't remember.
Yeah, this one is to be determined. To be continued, I guess is the right term.
If Connor's not on this show a year from now.
I died in the bungee jump.
Yeah, he died in the bungee jumping
and Pigeon Forge.
The cord snapped.
Yep.
Yeah, that does seem to be the best place to debut Pigeon Forge.
Dude, it's tight, though. The place is, it's crazy.
It's redneck Vegas. If you've never been to Pigeon Forge.
It's great. It's a great time.
Up, like the tons of restaurants and like
David
entertainment.
Buster's is legit awesome.
Oh yeah,
it was.
I didn't realize they had that there. Did you go to a dinner show or anything?
No, we didn't do any
Hatfields and McCoys.
No, we didn't do any of that. Legit, we showed up and you were allowed to bring alcohol in, and they supplied alcohol. So I mean, it got out of control, but they supplied a full spread buffet. It was awesome. But yeah, that came up. Thankfully, it seems like this season's going to go by, so I don't feel like we have to readdress previous seasons when losers will come and go. So
what if you had won the championship though, and they're like, "Oh, we're not going to pay out your prize money"?
Yeah, but that didn't happen. So thank God I didn't have to make that decision. But
I think you should just ghost this league.
Yeah, I think you should.
Numbers, block them.
I do remember this draft. It was last year, wasn't it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Thank God
Connor was just gone for like a day. It was just a black hole. Like we're watching the new season of Unsolved Mysteries, which check that out if you haven't. Incredible revival there on Netflix. But it's like so many of these shows when they're doing kind of these true crime, it's like there's just this big black kind of, like hole in terms of this person's like whereabouts and what we know about them. And that was Connor for Pigeon Forge. If something terrible had happened, no one would have known where Connor went or who killed him because he was just off the map for a little bit.
Just died in the mountains.
That's right. Died in the bungee jumping accident. So, fellas, we got a great episode tonight. We're going to have a little fun. We're through 6 weeks of the NFL season somehow. I can't believe we're already at this point, Addy. And we're going to do a segment that is similar to, or you're like about to burst over there. Looks like something that is similar to what the fantasy footballers do. They call it Panic Room. I didn't want to just rip them off entirely. So we came up with our own edition called Chamber of Screams.
Chamber of Screams.
I didn't know what part you were. I thought you were going to go, ew, you know. So it's Chamber of Screams, little nod there to Harry Potter for all you nerds out there. Chamber of Screams IDP edition. We're going to put, 13 IDPs in the Chamber of Screams, and we're going to figure out how panicked should we be about these players for where they're sitting right now compared to where they came into the season expectations-wise.
Yep, it's going to be a good segment. A lot of these guys on my team.
I was going to say, a lot of these guys sound familiar. Addy, you've been making some moves. We're not going to get into who'd you get this week, but you've been making some moves. One guy in particular that our buddy, best friend of the show, John Macri, did a deep dive on, Corey Littleton. Go check this piece out. It's actually free on PFF's website, and I think John tweeted it out. Deep diving into the struggles of Corey Littleton, a player that you actually just moved.
Yeah. Shout out Macri over at PFF. Yeah, I mean it's an awesome thread, but that's not the first awesome thread he's put out there. Just follow this guy.
Yeah, go read the
You'll
article.
Get smarter.
It's really good. If you're having concerns about Corey Littleton, there might be some legit cause for concerns. I don't think Corey is one of the guys that we're talking about. Oh, he is. Okay. So we're gonna get into that. We'll get into that. We're gonna hit the news, the waiver wire targets. We're going to do the IDP Q&A and then get into the Chamber of Screams. But we start with the news. And Connor, I want to get your take on this one. Did you watch any of this Cowboys-Cardinals game last night?
I did. Yeah, I had some guys playing. So
yeah, I did too. It was not a fun game.
Yeah, it wasn't. I had Nuke, and I also had
probably had Zeke.
No, I didn't
Amari
have
Cooper.
Amari Cooper. I'm just drawing a blank. Amari Cooper and Nuke.
So I had told Addy, you might have seen it in our Slack as well, that if Zeke hadn't had those 2 fumbles, I would have beat Dynasty Sneeko by 1/100th of a point.
That's so unlike him. I don't ever remember him putting the ball on the ground in 2 in 1 game. I mean, you got to give credit there to Arizona. I mean, they were clearly just going after the ball, but it's just uncharacteristic of Zeke, who's already in a tight position with, the Red Rocket there. So.
In the Red Rifle?
Red Rifle. Freudian slip for
I was gonna
Andy.
Say Red Rocket, Jesus. Can we got to mention Buda Baker? He was the real star.
I kept hearing his name the entire night. I was like, that's Adam's guy.
The real star of Monday night.
It really was. Adam or Allie was watching the game and said, "Is it Buddha or Buddha?" And I was like, "It's Buddha. That's Adam's favorite player."
But
and
she's like, "He is Buddha."
Yeah, I was like, it's
like
spelled
Buddha.
like Buddha though, and I was like, "Yeah, it is. You're right."
Yeah.
He was all
the best.
over the place, man.
Love to see him in prime time like that. He always delivers, man.
Talking about he's the heart and soul of this defense, and it's just amazing. 5'9", like 190 pounds.
Yeah, he's the best.
Just incredible. Love seeing Buddha in prime time,
and I think he is like legit a top 10 like IDP asset. Like
he's safety 1 for me right now. I know Joey was talking about this week that he put him outside his top 5. He's definitely top 2 or 3. Buddha's he's number 1 right now.
Yeah.
Jamal's been out. Derwin's been out.
Yeah.
Landon Collins has been fine.
Yeah,
but it's Buddha.
43 tackles last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's clearly the guy. But the story that came out, Connie, today, I'm sure you saw this, but anonymous Cowboys players slam the coaches saying they aren't good at their jobs. So things are quickly deteriorating for the Cowboys, who I believe are still in first place in that division.
The NFC East is just absolutely just imploding on itself. I mean, across the board, you could go team by team, and it's a dumpster fire. I mean, I don't know if you really have any good storylines out of any team in the division, and now this just kind of adds to that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that division ends up as a whole. But yeah, it's not a ringing endorsement if you're Jerry Jones thinking, man, I just lost Dak. I got a running back that may be, fumbling the ball or getting overworked and, getting worn down. And now I've got a mutiny in the locker room. So Jerry, I'm sure, is not happy.
And you gave him a 5-year deal.
Yep.
Why?
I don't
Why
know.
did they do that?
Because you see, there's typically either 3-year contracts for coaches or 5-year contracts for coaches.
That's dumb.
And, I don't know why you would ever go with a 5-year unless, I don't know, especially with a retread like Mike McCarthy. If a guy was coming in with like a clean slate, like someone like a Matt Rule, that, okay, we're going to give this guy 5 years. He's taken over a kind of bottom of the barrel type of rebuilding franchise.
Right.
We believe in this guy. He's young. He has no prior history to tell us he's going to flame out at some point.
Yeah.
But with Mike McCarthy, just give him an 8-game contract.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it. It's not like I don't think he had any other people beating down the door. Maybe he did, but they should have never gotten into a competition with anyone over this guy.
I don't know that they actually interviewed a whole lot of people outside of the candidate to satisfy the Rooney Rule and Mike McCarthy.
I was looking. I don't know if you guys ever saw the video that was kind of, I think it might have been like an E60 or something that like ESPN did, like a little puff piece of McCarthy, whenever he was looking for a job.
Oh yeah.
It was weird, and like dynamic between him and his family was very weird. He is a I don't know. It was a very like tense. He's like, we need football. We need football.
We need him out of the house right now. This is a problem.
It's funny how many coaches' wives say that. Like, we just love him coaching, basically insinuation. So he's not here around the house. And
please help.
And he just looks so uncomfortable hanging out with his family. Just like, hey,
hey, Chad. My name's Chuck.
You can call me Coach.
Yeah.
Get on the line.
You're my son.
Drop down and give me 15 for having a terrible name, Chad. Yes. And he's down in his basement, like grinding tape. Where's that whole stink about?
That was a lie.
Yeah, like I watched every snap, and then at the opening press conference, he's like, well, maybe not every snap. It's like, wow, what's worse, Adam Gase's crazy eyes or Mike McCarthy just straight up lying?
Gase is the worst. Has there ever been offered up an explanation as to what happened?
So a lot of the Twitter doctors were weighing in on this and said that basically you can get kind of bug-eyed when you have like lots of lights and like attention and focus on you and cameras and stuff. But I don't know. I think he was maybe on something.
That was wild.
Because I've never seen anyone
like,
else's eyes do that before.
Surely he's been in front of cameras. He's a coach, man. Like you've been.
He was a coach before.
Yeah, you've been a coach
many
before,
years.
and you just look like just out of your mind.
bug-eyed.
Yeah, like you look it was crazy.
Tripping on.
I think me and Jordan talked about this on the live show. That's just what someone looks like when they've done a lot of drugs and they're in front of a camera.
Yes, like
can we please make that GIF like the cover for announcing the episode on Twitter?
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if we have the
Pull it
Adam
up, pull it
Gase,
up.
Jordan just said drugs with a Z.
yeah,
It was definitely some good drugs.
1,000% drugs, man. I don't want to hear any of this. He's
Hey,
in front of
Jordan.
the cameras.
So I would be curious if some of the Dolphins coaches were on drugs when they made this decision, Addy, because one of the bright spots of the NFL season thus far has been Ryan Fitzpatrick down there in Miami, just slinging it, having the chest cabbage out, having these magnificent shirts on the post-game interviews, just, living like there's no tomorrow, because when you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, there really is no tomorrow. And we saw that come to fruition today when it was announced that Tua had been named the starting quarterback coming out of their bye.
Hey, once I seen Tua sitting on that field after the game, I knew it was all but over.
That was a weird thing of like,
Give me chills.
yeah, everyone's like, look at Tua. I mean, it was a cool moment, but it felt like sometimes media members, they laugh too hard at jokes that aren't funny.
Right.
And they observe human behavior in a way that almost makes them seem like aliens. Like, look at this person enjoying the moment. How weird is this?
Or like the famous scene where the guy, Jordan, is like sobbing after he wins the championship and his father's passed. And the guy just gets the camera like right in his face. And everybody's like, okay, get out of here. He's sitting here just like he's sobbing uncontrollably. But yeah, it is bizarre to see them try to like enter, whether it's like the getting way overly close, even on an injury. It's like, okay, he's really hurt. She's really hurt. You really just get the camera off of him. It's a funny
Unfortunately,
thing.
they have to chase what the attention is on the field.
Yeah, it's
right?
a double-edged sword. So I mean,
So if it's Dak's leg, like pointing sideways,
Hey.
unfortunately, that's where every camera is trained.
Brutal injuries sell, baby.
it's a fine
If
line.
it bleeds, it leads. That's what they
Sure.
teach you in journalism school. So, Connie, did you think it was the right move to go to Tua right now?
Yes, absolutely. Man.
Really?
You know what you have in Fitz. If you have doctors clearing him, and you had doctors when you drafted him telling you, hey, he needs to be here at this point or here at this point to play, As soon as he's ready to play, Fitz has done his job. He'll be a great backup if you start to see any regression with the injury, because it's a big one. Hip's different. But you got to know what you have. And if he's ready, he's got to play.
See, I think it's interesting because maybe they said this was always the plan. But at the same time, it's like, have we ever seen a team that's, 500, they're in the mix for the NFC or for the AFC East, make a quarterback change when a quarterback was not playing poorly? And it's not like Tua was the starter, got hurt. Fitzpatrick came in, held down the fort, and now he's subbing back out like a Teddy Bridgewater situation with Drew Brees. Fitzpatrick was the starter from day one and has done really well. This team has outscored the Bills, the division leader, and given up fewer points than the Bills. And yet they're making this change now. And I think where I had to come down was they still don't see themselves. The point of this season is to figure out, do we have it with Tua? The point of this season is not to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. They're not going to win the Super Bowl with Fitz. Why
they
matter?
won't win it with Tua this year either, but you need to know what you have. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And if he's healthy, which everybody's like, oh, it's this, and I get that. But there's a reason you took him as early as you did. There's a reason you had a Fitz, just like the situation with Tyrod. Tyrod was the starter. Unfortunately, his was injury related with the lung. He's not getting that job back.
Yeah.
And if Tua comes in and plays well, and guess what? If he doesn't, you know what you got.
Yep. And also, they're sitting there watching Herbert ball out.
Exactly.
The guy that was drafted after him. But also, you just you want to go ahead and get that connection between the quarterback and the receivers. You want to go ahead and get that, as immediate, happening as immediate as possible. And so that's kind of why I think you go ahead and you bring him in, see what you got in him. He's the face of the franchise. It makes sense to me. I know it's kind of Fitzpatrick's done well. We all love the beard. Someone trade for him. Dallas, trade for Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely should after last night.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton looked god awful.
Yeah, he did.
Threw that pick to Jordan Hicks, and it was just like, I would like to think that if I was me in my current form in that situation, I would not have made that horrendous of a decision.
I know, man.
But
he's got nice talent. Like, I was expecting, a decent showing from Dalton.
It was pitiful, though. It's like, no wonder these stories are leaking out today.
Yeah.
That was a pitiful effort all the way around. I think, though, I have to applaud the Dolphins coaches for saying the point of this season is to evaluate Tua. And there's a good chance we're underestimating, because I don't like the move because Fitzpatrick is playing well. But at the same time, I have to acknowledge the fact that Tua definitely has a higher ceiling, and they may also see him as an upgrade over Fitzpatrick because they're seeing him in practice, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, maybe there's a little bit of a rookie learning curve, but they see, what if he comes in, Connie, and is like a Herbert in LA, where he actually gives them a better chance to win down the stretch.
It's the just classic risk reward. They've been weighing that all year with the injury, giving him time, letting them learn the playbook. But, I think if it was me, it would be a nice advantage to allow rookies to play in smaller, less capacity stadiums, more collegiate size, to kind of get their feet wet, get their sea legs, so to say. He's going to take his licks, but you got to measure everybody. And this is one of the most important pieces. You got to see who he meshes well with. Is this your guy moving forward? And like we've mentioned, there's, going to be an extra playoff spot at each year, or each conference this year. So, with the Patriots, they're good, but Tommy's gone. So, see if you have a chance at the division or a wild card spot, and maybe Tua is your guy. And if he's not this year, you can at least know what you have. So I'm a fan. I hope he does well and, continues what Fitz has started. And he's set the table pretty well for him.
And Fitz is going to be a great mentor for him.
Oh, he's the best.
But Tua, you can do more. He can run. He can I feel like it's going to open up the playbook. But again, you might as well go ahead.
And he's left-handed. I know that sounds weird, but maybe a left-handed quarterback allows you to do things, play design wise, that a right-handed quarterback can't do.
It looks weird watching it on TV. A lefty always, because how many other lefties do we have in the league besides him right now?
He's it. There's nobody else.
So
unless there's like a third string backup or something.
I think what'll help a lot. Did y'all know this about Fitzpatrick? He went to Harvard.
Whoa.
That's the first time I've heard that.
I know.
No, that can't be true.
No. There's no way to know that.
There's
no way to know that for sure. That's just unsubstantiated rumors. Something that's not a rumor. We know Le'Veon Bell has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. CEH looked great yesterday. They ran the ball the most that they ever have in the Andy Reid era.
Yeah.
Like something like 30 to 40 touches for the running backs there. So I don't know. I think this is just like stacking the deck even more for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, Andy Reid came out and said that he's not there to take his job. So he's just, he's a compliment, but Le'Veon's good enough to where he's going to get
playing time. I think it will be a true split.
Yes. And he's a good receiver himself. So, I mean, he'll catch balls. I'd imagine he's going to be, like probably averaging like 10 to 15 points a week at first. And then, potentially we'll see how it goes.
Great insurance if CEH hits the rookie wall or gets hurt.
Yep. Exactly.
I think he's going to take that Darrell Williams role that we saw last night. Because Darrell Williams, Connie, actually did you get to watch the 4:00 game? How weird was that?
Yeah, that was weird. I was actually at a showing and a listing appointment at one of my buddies' house, and he had the TV on, and I saw the Chiefs were playing, and I was just like,
is this weird? Is this a replay?
I asked
or something?
him, I said, is this a rerun game? He goes, no, man, this is live. It's a double header. So I did get to catch a little bit there. He had it on, so that was a big bro move to have that there. But yeah, I agree on the back usage, but Le'Veon is going to get on the field. I don't know if y'all have ever heard Bill Belichick's remarks on Le'Veon, but they're like just gushing remarks. And like Markham hit on, I mean, he can really catch the ball. He can pass block. He runs hard. He breaks tackles. He runs over people. So he's going to see the field. Josh, this would be my Colts comparison for him. Think about the Colts Super Bowl year. They had Joe Adai. They had the young guy from LSU, right, with fresh legs. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, and then who had Dominique Rhodes?
Dominique Rhodes, man, who a lot of people said should have been a Super Bowl MVP.
He should have been. He was the best player in that Super Bowl.
He was a guy that if you think about it, he had a pretty similar game in a lot of ways. Le'Veon's probably a little better pass catcher, but for any Colts fans, I see him having kind of a Dominique Rhodes type role on a team that I think is going to make a possible repeat.
I think they're the clear favorites right now.
Oh, yeah.
Your boys, the Bucks, had a nice showing this weekend. We were watching that game in the backyard at Connie's house. And
that's going to be a beautiful Super Bowl, boys.
That defense was freaky, man.
I would love to see it. Yeah, Tom versus
That'd be the
Mahomes.
Best. That'd be the best.
That Buccaneers defense is so nasty. And I gave their cornerbacks grief at the beginning of the season. I remember when we did their preview, I was like, these guys are nobodies. This could be the weakness of the team. And the secondary really is their strength right now.
Carlton Davis is really freaking good. One of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Murphy Bunting is good.
He's good.
Whitehead's been good.
Jamel
good. Dean has been good.
We know about Winfield.
It's a great secondary.
Really good team, man.
Maybe the best secondary in the league, honestly.
And they're just now getting healthy on offense.
Yep. So watch out. That was a big statement win for the Bucks. I know Addy was excited there with all the Tom Brady hype going into this offseason. The offense is getting he's not going to throw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, most likely, but they are getting their feet under him. Gronk was back involved.
I threw kind of some shade on him and DF Triple S, but he looked good. They're a good team, man. They're a good team, and a 38-10 win against the Packers, that's a statement.
The team that everyone was like, this is the favorite in the NFC, along with like the Seahawks, and they beat the hell out of them.
Once Rodgers did that pumping, what'd you think about that?
That was the 3 pumps, wasn't it, from Key and Peele?
Yeah, it was definitely the Key and Peele skit.
Yeah. Just trying a little too hard.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Just do your belt and go off to the sideline.
Y'all know he's on, and I got the shirt on, so I know, Pat, you're watching, but this is one of your original pieces of merch. But he gets on Pat McAfee's show.
Oh, yeah.
Every Monday, I believe, to discuss just, I think, everything going on. But, that wasn't the best there. I mean, that Tampa Bay defense looked
sick.
Very impressive. It's very similar to, and it could be a lazy comparison in some ways, but what Peyton went to when he went to Denver, right? He had a good offense, he had good receivers, but man, he had a hell of a defense.
If the Bucks win the Super Bowl, I think it will be on the back of that defense.
Yeah.
Because the best players on the team, in my opinion, are on the defensive side of the ball.
Tom has played well, and I think he's
playing better.
Yeah, he's getting better every week. So I mean, even as a big Manning lover and Brady hater, but got to give him his due diligence, man. I mean, he's he's been impressive, man.
We got to give respect to Rojo. He's been
Rojo
decent.
he's looked good. Fournette was out this week, surprise inactive, but yeah, Rojo has been tearing it up.
He's
I've
been
got
good.
him in a couple places, and he's looked really nice.
Yep, and he was a nice value in pretty much every draft that you had this.
Because people didn't know.
Right.
You just didn't know. You had McCoy there.
Keyshawn Vaughn,
RIP.
Fournette. Although Vaughn got a little bit of run.
You got to wonder how it looks different when Fournette comes back.
Right, yeah.
I hear that name and always think of Mojo, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Oh,
Bro,
yeah.
he used to wreck stuff.
Ooh, he was a little bowling ball.
Pocket Hercules, man. He
Yep.
was so much fun to watch with Jacksonville.
So one more piece of news here, fellas. Devin Bush, torn ACL, out for the year. This sucks.
Sucks. He hadn't been playing great, and then this happens. So any shot at really redemption is over for him.
Great buy low in Dynasty right now.
Yeah.
I think we know this guy's going to be good. Like you said, not the best start to the season, but
we like his talent.
love the talent.
Yeah.
Great defense. I mean, best defense in the league.
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's just too many good people around him, and it's kind of hard for him to get tackled. I mean, seriously, that defense is so stacked at every level. That's
no weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another team that could be, they could carry that team
absolutely
deep into the playoffs just because of that defense.
Absolutely. So, Addy, let's hit some waiver wire targets here. Avery Williamson, obviously, this is going to be one of your. If he's out there for some reason, it's a no-brainer pickup.
I'm telling you, he scared us a little bit. There was a little stretch where he got 100%, then they dropped him back down to 47, but then he was back up again, and he's there. He's balling.
He's the dude.
And they get 11 tackles this week. He's the guy you want.
Absolutely. Juwan Bentley, finally, we've been waiting for the breakout there in the New England linebacker core.
Don't trust it though, but he's worth a pickup.
Yeah, worth a pickup, especially if you're hurting. Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle in Tennessee.
Yeah. So he's coming off COVID, so he might have been dropped, but yeah, he's definitely worth an ad. He should be an option for you starting, especially in defensive tackle leagues. I mean, he's like an elite option.
Somebody mentioned this. I think it was the guy who does the late round, maybe JJ Zacharyson. I think it was him that said, has anyone checked on Raquel Armstead, running back for the Jags? He's been on the COVID list for like 4 or 5 weeks now.
That's true.
Are we sure he's okay? Can we get a search party down there in Jacksonville to check on Raquel?
It's HIPAA, bruh.
That's true.
Yeah, you can't say anything.
Peyton cited that. I remember one time when everybody was grilling him on his neck injury. He's like, well, I'd love to talk to you all about that, but as you all know, that's a HIPAA violation. So.
But he was fine with the information leaking out about him teabagging old toilet mouth. Still one of my favorite names that someone called someone else.
Toilet mouth is GOAT.
It is the best.
That is the best thing to call somebody.
Because you could absolutely see Peyton calling someone old toilet mouth.
Oh, toilet mouth.
Like with his dad, talking to his dad on the phone.
Yeah, that was his dad that said that, right?
No, I kind of assumed it was in the context of him talking to his dad. Maybe his dad was the one who came up with it, but yeah, Peyton's like, oh yeah, he's definitely old toilet mouth. I just love it. All right, Adrian Phillips, Addy, New England safety.
Yes, yeah. So he's back and playing well. Got I think 10 tackles last week. But yeah, I mean he's as long as he's continuing to get those type snaps for sure.
All right, what about Rayshon Jenkins?
I mean, who the hell knows with that defense? There's guys that are up and down all the time. I mean he's fine, but he's been a little more little inconsistent for me. But he's fine.
What about Nasir Adderley?
Same thing, same backfield there.
If you had to pick between Rayshon and Nasir Adderley, who are you taking there in Los Angeles?
I think Jenkins is probably the safer pick, but I like Adderley a lot. He's got the upside.
All right. So what about a couple more here? Taylor Rapp. It's not a wrap, as we know. Jordan Fuller on IR.
Yeah. Hopefully you held on to him. I mean, he's going to be the guy. And he looks, he had a really good week. So yeah, definitely need to get Rapp. Not a wrap yet.
Cole Holcomb?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Need to see it longer.
I don't all the Washington linebackers, I'm just like, bleh, nope, stay away.
Yep.
Moving on. Dre Greenlaw.
Hell yeah.
This was a guy I talked about a few weeks ago on the squad who was like, this dude's not doing anything right now, but he's insurance in case Quan gets hurt
and Quan got hurt.
And when Quan gets hurt, Greenlaw, I heard it said well in the Around the NFL pod, which We should. I want to go ahead and break the news. We're going to have Mark Sessler back on the pod.
Let's go.
Here
Come on, Mark. Good to meet you in advance.
Here in a couple weeks. I need to contact him to get a date locked down, but look forward to that. We're going to have Mark back on the pod. Said very well on his show that all that Dre Greenlaw does is show up and make dramatic plays.
Yeah.
Like goal line stops seem to be the big thing.
Made a huge stop like on the sideline that last game. Yeah, that's what he does seem to show up in big moments. But yes, I mean, Quan's hurt now. Quan has a high ankle sprain.
That I'm starting to look at that injury as a season killer.
They're not going to be the same. You can just bank on them not being the same the rest of the year. I mean, you've seen teams have finally started figuring that out. Like Saints have been really cautious with Michael Thomas, same with CMC. Like they're really being cautious, but I don't expect those guys to come back and be 100% at any point in the year.
Yeah. Dre is like what the Colts have done with Anthony Walker, right? Kind of as an insurance policy there with Darius Leonard. So, I mean, he has been an absolute.
Greenlaw's more like Okereke, really.
You could say, yeah. I mean, either way, just keeping like a lot of those good linebackers around, knowing, hey, this position's going to get dinged the way we play.
Absolutely.
Fly to the ball and, make big plays. But, yeah, I'm a fan as well. And I love this last guy we have mentioned.
I was going to say, I want you to take this one, Kamoko Ture.
I'm pumped to see him get back. Of course, he had, I think, against Kansas City last year is when he got hurt. He had a ankle injury. I think he maybe dislocated his ankle. But been rehabbing. I know they said that weren't quite sure, but he's cleared from what I've read to come back after the bye week. So if you can find him out there and you need a DN that may have a spark, maybe getting some plays. I mean, I don't know quite what to expect. Everything I've read and heard on different Colts podcasts, Kevin's Corner, a few different podcasts. Shout out KB, Kevin Bowen. I mean, he's basically saying it in a best case scenario, he's maybe playing after the bye on some third down snaps. So take that for what it's worth. I think he's got good upside. It just may not be immediately because I think they're going to kind of baby step him back in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe a guy later in the season that could have some production there. So we do have some comments, Addy. Jordan has requested that we give a shout out to who ended the reign of terror from across the pond, Tom Kissenberry's run atop Shark City.
Wow,
Jordan,
shots fired.
Yeah, I know. Jordan wanted it known who took him down. And he said with Drake, so I'm guessing maybe Kenyon Drake played a role in that being able to happen. Boo Bam, one of our favorites, said Raquel Armstead said he is fine staying away. James Robinson said so. So that is, what's keeping old Raquel on the COVID-19 list.
Maybe he got his feelings hurt or something.
He's like, I'm just going to stay here.
And they can just use the COVID as an excuse.
Yeah. So Connie, hit us with the IDP Q&A is meant to help out new IDP players to get acclimated to different parts of the IDP experience. What's our question for this week?
So our Q&A question is, do you feel like playing IDP has helped your overall fantasy knowledge?
Yeah. So, Addy, I think this is a question that we really talked about a lot in the first episode with Kyle Borgononi making the case for IDP. I think it absolutely does. It forces you to have a deeper understanding of offensive value, especially in terms of trades, because you're trying to evaluate offense versus defense. You really have to know what guys are worth when you're making these kind of multi-positional trades. So that's one way it's helped.
Absolutely. Also, it helps you as far as like matchups go. Like it gives you a good understanding of who are the good cornerbacks in the league, who are the good defenses, who are the better units in the league as far as coverage and against the run and stuff like that. You're just more in tune with all of that stuff. And like last night me and shout out Charlie, we were watching the game at the bar, and Buda Baker was going nuts, and no one knew who that, you know what I mean? There was no one.
It makes you enjoy football a lot more.
No one knew who that was, but I was like, I was loving it. You could call out all these defensive players. I mean, I think it just makes your knowledge, so much more as far as everything goes.
Well, think about last night too, Connie. You had the Dallas Cowboys, who have been a horrific defense. I mean, back when Dak Prescott was healthy, we were seeing him put up historic passing numbers. And so that's something to take away as well, is when you know that a defense is bad, that's something that even playing IDP, the players who are valuable for IDP, but you also know this defense, not very good, but there's still talent to be had there. So
Injuries as well.
Yeah.
That's always nice. I mean, it's hard to keep up with that sometimes, but if you know, like they're missing big pieces, like, yeah, that's stuff that is helpful.
Yeah, it's like any person that has a good argument or a good opinion on something, they know both sides, right? Because they want to know how everything operates. So you can't just know one side and think, okay, I'm going to jump into this league now and I'm somehow going to be good. You got to know how both sides work to be able to, again, the offense better because now you know how the defense works. But for me, it's been baptism by fire. I mean, I was taking my lumps early. Not to brag, I might be on a 2 or 3 game winning streak right now. So
brag a little bit.
Yeah, maybe projected to finish like middle of the pack, but hey, man, I'm learning. It's you guys kind of hit the nail on the head with all that, so I won't get too repetitive. But it's again, you all summed it up real just perfectly in terms of saying you just appreciate football more. And I don't know why we would treat football any differently than like every other sport, right? Like we enjoy in baseball good pitching games. Well, we want to see hits, but if somebody's throwing a no-hitter or a shutout or just defensively playing lights out, same thing in basketball, right? The LeBron block in the finals, why would we not enjoy it in football? So in fantasy, it does add just another element to the best sport, professional football. So I'm a fan.
Yep.
And that was my thing was when you know that a defense is bad, you can then look at the offense is going to have to play catch up. The Dallas Cowboys offense was a great offense to target because their defense was terrible. If you had Dak or CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper or Ezekiel Elliott or even Dalton Schultz, you knew that those pieces were going to be valuable because the team was going to be playing catch up. So like, for instance, if you knew that the Cowboys, will just stick with them, if they had a running back that was like a grinder, kind of like Adrian Peterson, always talked about not a great pass catching back, you would know, may want to try to move him because they're going to be in a lot of catch up games and not be able to hand the ball off to AP, 25 times a game. So it helps you understand, the offensive side of the ball a lot more because you see where those little tiny advantages that you want to try to get week in and week out over your competition. It helps a lot with that.
It just makes it more enjoyable. Makes watching football way more enjoyable.
Really does.
I mean, it's just
you have twice the players to root for.
Yes, there's never a game where you don't have at least someone going. It seems in the leagues we're in where we start like 25 guys. It just makes the week so much more fun.
Absolutely. Connor, have you been enjoying your first IDP season?
Yeah, again, it's been baptism by fire. I have enjoyed it. You all hit the nail on the head. It makes you enjoy football more. You got to pay attention more. Obviously, more moving parts by having more players. It's not the lazy man's approach like in other leagues. We just pick a defense. So you're 100% hitting the nail on the head. Of offensively, it coaches you up a lot more because you're paying attention to individual defensive players, how they're playing, who's shining as a rookie, who's underperforming, and if so facto, what offensive players you feel like will be a great matchup that week. So you're hurting a little more cats in terms of adding all these moving parts in, but it is really enjoyable. It's just a big learning curve, but so far so good.
And there are some people that argue, that IDP makes you not as good at the offensive side because you're spending all this time, focused on defensive players where you're not. I don't really think that's true.
No, I think that is completely 100% false.
But also, you're playing it wrong. Like I don't care. I'm not impressed if you're at these offensive,
It's like saying that if
squads.
You knew Spanish and you learned French, that you would know less Spanish.
Right.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
In fact, you would probably be better at Spanish because acquiring a knowledge that is adjacent to another knowledge pool that you have only enriches that existing knowledge pool. It does not detract from it.
Yeah. Knowing both, again, every good argument is knowing both sides. So same is true here with knowing, you'll know how the offense works better if you know how the defense works because that's who they're playing against. So it's only to your benefit. So I don't see that. And in my first year, that would just be my opinion as the newbie in the group. So it's been fun.
Well, good. Addie, it's that time. We are now entering
the Chamber of Screams.
You would have been a great extra on like the Harry Potter movies to be like all the three main characters are entering the Chamber of Secrets and you're like,
you can go down into the Chamber of Secrets.
I need him to have like a big nose.
Yeah,
and, like,
huge nose.
Up real bad
see,
with the hood.
I didn't even know this was like Harry Potter. Like I'm not a Not a fan.
Not a nerd.
Not a nerd. I thought this was just about Halloween, but
It is. It's a little bit of both. That's just
I
where
love
my
it.
mind went to when I was trying to rip off Panic Room.
We're gonna try and get some drops on here. I'm gonna do some research this week.
Keyword on try.
Josh is making. He's leaving me up to it, so
That's
we'll
right.
see.
That's right. Adam's at his desk with his headphones in, listening to like screams and people being murdered on YouTube.
What made you change it from Chamber of Creams?
Just trying to keep it relatively PG.
Oh, okay.
So let's start off with the DBs here, Addy. So what we're going to give you is the preseason ranking from our consensus Big Three rankings of where we saw these guys, ending up end of season, and where they are right now. And I want your level of panic. Should we be worried about these guys? And we're going to start off with one of your favorites there in Minnesota, Harrison Smith, preseason ranking DB8, currently sitting at DB42. Should we be concerned about Harrison?
I mean, not great, but no, I don't think so. This is kind of what he does. He starts off slow, or he's just very up and down. I think the big weeks will come. I'd expect him to have a better second half than the first.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're frustrated. I mean,
I'm starting him as one of my two, safeties in our main league, along with Jonathan Abram, and it's not been great. Not been what I would expect for somebody who, when I went back and did that historic scoring over like the past 7 or 8 years, he was the one guy that kept popping up on the DBs as like year to year was top 12 consistent. So just expected better. Especially, with not a lot of talent there on the Minnesota defense. You thought that the opportunity would be there, but it just really hasn't been.
He's always been a bit of a hybrid where he does, he can get some decent tackle numbers, but he gets the big play stats. The big play stats just haven't come yet.
Yeah. So, Connie, what about this next guy here? Von Bell recently moved this offseason from the Saints to the Bengals. Preseason ranking of DB11, sitting at DB23 right now. Doesn't seem like there's a huge cause for concern in terms of where our, perception was versus the reality right now.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to get too excited about. I think, unfortunately, that's kind of the Bengals' MO across the board. I feel, just not to jump over to the offense too much, but I feel for Burrow, man. That whole team across the board, you got no line. You're basically getting your quarterback beat up. I think they said he's on track for 70 sacks. So defense is having to play a lot. So, seeing him drop like that, it wouldn't be anybody that's setting my pants on fire. And I just want to add in case I don't get to do anybody else in the DBs. When's my man Julian Blackman going to get some love on any of these lists?
Hey, we'll get him up there.
Yeah, he was. He had the game-sealing interception for the Colts.
2 picks this year.
He's looked really nice.
Just the tackle numbers haven't really been up there.
Yeah, I saw that. I was checking to see what his official numbers were. He only had, I think, registered 9 tackles on the year. So, I mean, not great, obviously, there. But
hey, he's the type that has a knack for making big plays. I think that's going to be the case with him.
Hadn't played all year either. He's only played a handful of games. So, I mean,
he's a rookie. So,
yeah.
But Von Bell, I mean, he's at least out there. We love that. I mean, his last game he had 9 tackles. So that's solid. I mean, really, he's been fine. I mean, week 1 to week 6, 8 tackles, 8 tackles, 8 tackles, 6 tackles, 6 tackles, 9 tackles.
You have to also keep in mind, Sean Williams has been getting folded back into the mix here. They also have Jesse Bates.
Yep. So Von Bell's playing, majority of the snaps, 95% and up. So
there's certain players with whom, when they have the opportunity, you just have to be patient. This is not.
He'll be fine.
They're going to be on the field a lot. So
safety 23 is fine.
Yeah,
you'll be all right.
That's what I was saying. Nothing to sneeze at here. Only 12 spots lower, but
100% of the snaps.
100%.
Von Bell is fine. He's a great option
on the season. 100%.
Yes.
Wow. Good for you, Von Bell.
That's some durability, dude.
All right. This is a guy we've had a lot of debates on. So I'm curious your take here, Addy. Jabril Peppers, preseason ranking 13, current rank DB 64.
Well, I mean, he was hurt. I mean, he missed a few weeks. He was kind of banged up. But last week he was kind of solid. I mean, he was fine. Tackles. I mean, that's better than what he was doing, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's not going to be someone I'm probably trotting out there and starting. I'm going to need to see 8 to 9 tackles before I'm putting him in the lineup.
There's 2 words for why I think you can explain this ranking. You mentioned he got banged up a little bit. Blake Martinez.
Yes.
The linebacker 1 on the season. That's one that we didn't miss on.
Also, Logan Ryan.
That's right. Logan Ryan. what were teams doing? The Cam Newton argument of like, what were teams doing not signing Cam Newton? Why did it take Logan Ryan so long to get a job?
I don't know. Maybe he was just demanding too much because he did like lead the league, or he was up there in tackles. He was trying to be viewed as a safety. I don't know. Seemed like his agent was not the best. I think he got a new agent.
Yeah, he's like Logan.
Davion deal. Same thing with him. Got a new agent, got a team, and guess what? He's fitting great.
It was a weird offseason. I think we got it. It was Corona.
A lot of agents needed to get fired.
Yes.
That's the hot take.
Hire us. I'll represent anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll go get you whatever money. You want to say you're a quarterback, Logan Ryan? Fine. Whatever gets you the contract.
Join the network.
Need a real estate agent?
Yeah, we'll get you a nice house. Can you get your license in New York real quick?
Yeah, I can trade. It'd take me about a week.
Okay.
I'll get you a credit
card.
a
guy. A credit card.
Maybe a car loan.
I'll help you set up your podcast. Come on down. What about this guy? Adrian Amos, preseason ranking DB 22, current ranking DB 71.
No, I'm not. I can't deal with him anymore. I mean, he's getting the playing time. He's getting up. I think he might be getting 100% of the snaps as well, but no.
Do you want Darnell Savage there instead? Or do you want any of the Packers safeties?
Not really. I mean,
Is there anyone from that defense now that Kirksey is gone that you want?
Savage really hadn't been getting it done either. I mean, he seems to be the more tackle heavy of the two, but even those numbers aren't great. So yeah, probably not starting any of those guys right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So let's move to linebacker, Connor, and I want to start with one that is going to hurt. Okay, so just get ready. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off now. This guy has been hurt. Okay, so we're not going to, read a whole lot into this. I actually asked C-Mags to throw him on here just because he is on our Indianapolis Colts. This is Darius Leonard, preseason ranking. He was the LB1, currently sitting at LB 65. Are you worried about Lenny moving forward this season?
No, but here's the thing. It was a freaky groin injury to begin with. I mean, he basically just kind of ran into running sideways one of his own teammates. It was kind of a friendly fire thing. So groins are tricky. They're like a hamstring or anything else there that you can't really rest it unless you're just not doing anything. So he wasn't playing great to his standards, right? When you're an all-pro, you have a different standard. Same with Quentin Nelson. Both are all-pro guys. I don't think either one has played to their standard. You look at the line, they're last in the league in rushing. That's not acceptable from the best line in the league. You look at Darius. Defense has been good, but his numbers prior to the injury, not great. Not linebacker one great. So,
and I think it's also worth mentioning they have two other really good linebackers there.
Yeah,
Anthony Walker is good.
Yeah,
Okereke has stepped in and proven he can definitely help carry the load when Leonard is out.
Oh, he's blossomed. Okereke's blossomed, and you're going to get Teray back. So it's not to devalue Leonard. He should definitely be somebody that I think he's going to come back. The chip is going to be there. He's getting the bye week. He probably could have played this week if it came down to it and this was to get in the playoffs. I think the guy would have played, but don't lose faith, but that drop is well deserved in my opinion.
How's the health on him right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Have we heard any updates for this week in terms of is he going to be good to go?
Well, we have a bye this week, so
he is not going to be good to go.
He will not be good to go. That's what I was saying. The bye for him will give him. I think last week again, if it would have been for a playoff spot, he probably would have played. But they're being cautious, and again, the groin, hamstrings, quads, those. You just can't really work around those without straining them a little bit. So I think being overly cautious, letting that heal up.
Yeah, they have the depth to let it, to be cautious.
So this is nice. So this is from the Indy Star today. It says Colts hope to get Darius Leonard, Mo Alley Cox, Michael Pittman, and Kamoko Teray back after the bye.
Wow.
That's
that's huge.
That's some nice reinforcements coming in.
No injuries coming out of that game either, is what Frank Reich reported initially. Of course, they thought that last time, and then Michael Pittman had compartment syndrome, so that was
his leg was about to explode.
Yeah, dude, that's a trip.
What are you boys thinking about JT?
He's looked okay. I think it's not the physical. I think we know he's an athletic freak. I think it's the vision right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he's trusting his instincts or finding the right holes. Yeah, haven't been super impressed, but I think there is reason to be optimistic because there have been plays where he's flashed.
Yeah.
That's just what you want to see, right? With a rookie running back is you want to see the plays where he's flashed, but it is worrisome because we do have that offensive line. It's not like he's running behind some kind of Bengals patchwork offensive
Yeah.
line that's a complete disaster. So, yeah, I would say mixed results thus far for
B
JT.
minus.
Yeah, definitely, man. He's in the B's. Here's the thing. He didn't get a lot of play because, we remembered Marlon Mack. Of course, he got hurt early, but Marlon Mack was the
Pour
starter.
one out.
And, that's, with him being out, it's Taylor was getting some snaps, but in the early games, he was hardly getting any in that first game. And so it's been hard to, keep a, consistent track on him up to this point because his play has been inconsistent. But what he's been asked to do, again, the stats look, they're not a good rushing team right now. And I think a lot of that is, again, a rookie that has had absolutely no preseason. This has kind of been his preseason to learn to see those holes opening and closing a lot quicker.
And the usage has been weird. There is no reason that that he should not be the workhorse right now. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, Reich has mixed in Jordan Wilkins. He's not been using Naheem Hines effectively. He hasn't given Taylor enough. They want to be a running team, a bully running team, and they're just not giving Taylor the opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't gotten more than 67% of the offensive snaps.
That's wild.
That was his best week. Last week he got 59%. Week before that, 55%. 46 week before that. So
and he's supposedly a pass catching back, right? This is something that's in his skill set. Maybe he's not
that was
at it.
That was always the knock that he wasn't, but he's proven that no, he's pretty darn good. I mean,
he's catching the ball decently, but again, it's just he's not getting a ton of reps.
Yeah, I mean, last game he had 4 catches for 55 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Dude can catch. So it's not like I was saying. He's not getting game scripted out in these games where the Colts are having to come back.
This is not Trent Richardson. I've seen people say that online. It's like he misses the hole like Trent, and I'm like, no, man. Like our line is good. But the line, and again, I think Quentin would tell you, of course, we didn't have Costanzo last week, but not having a whole new quarterback, having no preseason, we're seeing a lot of teams have this lag, and I've hit on this every week, and it's super important, but the newer teams that are having a lot of rookie players playing, especially ones that weren't going to start, like JT had no expectation to start. Marlon Mack in a contract year was going to take a lot of that heavy lifting, so I've got him slating him in on that B to B minus range, but he's got to be better. But Frank Reich's got to be better. He's got to give him more opportunities. He's got to find ways to still let Wilkins be a guy that spills them. He can play. Let Marlon. I'm sitting here, got him on the brain now.
I didn't even get one game from Marlon Mack. That was such a.
And he would have been good. He would have been.
Mack looked great.
He would have looked good.
You got to get Hines in too. You got to let Hines get Paris Campbell snaps if you don't get Paris back. So let Hines be a gadget guy.
Why is he not split out wide in that Paris?
Because he can catch. He can. If he can field.
It's true.
It is. It's gotten too cute.
Frank
Reich has pretzeled himself a little bit this year.
He has a little bit. So let's, Addy. We're going to talk about a 3-pack of linebackers here, and I'm going to hit all 3 of them. And then I'll just, if you wonder why this is called Chamber of Screams, this is what I pictured was Adam down in a basement somewhere, just yelling into those places where you can pay money, go suit up, get like a helmet on and like some, put pillows over your chest and just rail on stuff with like baseball bats and crowbars and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing as you thought about these 3 linebackers. So
pretty much.
Shaq Thompson, preseason ranking LB5, currently at LB19. Feels like it should be like 119. Deion Jones, preseason ranking LB15, current rank LB29, and the worst offender of all, Corey Littleton. We mentioned him. Preseason rank LB17, current ranking LB68. Preach on it, Addy.
Shoo-wee.
What the H is going on here?
Shoo-wee, it's been a tough year. I was feeling so good. I called myself LBU in preseason.
Got humbled a little bit.
This has been a nightmare. It's been a true nightmare. I was able to ship off Corey Littleton today, but I'm not going to be probably starting Deion Jones. He's going to be replaced by Avery Williamson and Eric Wilson. It's just you've been frustrated. You've been disappointed. I mean, the Shaq Thompson, he's kind of floating off. He had a big week 3. So that week he had 12 tackles, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. That was his best game. Ever since then, he's been pretty mediocre. Last week, it was just like 6 tackles. Week before that, 10 tackles. But, that was his second 12 tackles week 1, but he's not adding anything to it. So if you look at like his game log, it's 12, 2, 24, 9, 10, 6. This was a guy that we were projecting was going to be like a top 10 linebacker. No more Kuechly, no more Eric Reed. It just was all lining up for Shaq Thompson, and it's not the case yet.
Just not that guy. And
but I feel okay about him. Like out of this group.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where's your confidence?
I feel the best I feel the best about Shaq.
So a great comment here. I'm going to throw it up on the screen from Boobam. Foye Oluokun is the linebacker to own in ATL.
Yeah, he is.
He absolutely is.
He is.
Which is funny because I was saying I got burned by Foye last year. I'm not in, but he's clearly proven to be the guy. If you had to rank these guys, you shipped Corey Littleton out of town. So I'm going to say he's probably third on the list.
Yes.
Deion Jones second, Shaq Thompson first in terms of your confidence.
Yeah.
But are you, if someone came and gave you a fair offer, you're moving all these guys, right?
Yes. Yes. Like I said, I'm never going to be attached to a linebacker again. I don't care about any of them except, I like Blake Martinez. I like him a lot right now.
That's the one thing I've felt great about. I did the preseason rankings with you all, redraft for the first time this year. And I was like, I just think Blake he's going to be good, man. Like just cling to what is familiar. And Blake Martinez inside the top 5 is familiar.
About as solid as it gets. And don't matter when he moves teams, you see like Corey and these other guys. Thing with the Raider situation is neither one is Nick Quick, who we were kind of excited about. He hadn't really established himself either. So maybe it's just one of those situations where they're just trying to figure it out, and it'll be a little bit before we see production. But this isn't the way we wanted to start.
No,
out.
the Raiders have been a mixed bag at best in terms of IDP production.
And like if you check out that thread, shout out Macri. If you read that thread, you'll know that Corey Littleton has been being graded very poorly. He's not playing well at all.
Yeah, that was one thing that like I said, from the article I took away was the way he's being used is different than how he was being used in Los Angeles. No Aaron Donald, that should be mentioned.
Yep.
Cleared up a lot of holes for Corey to, kind of fill and make the tackle. And his, play recognition has been really suspect. His mechanics have been very sloppy at
Missing
times.
tackles.
So yeah, Corey Littleton is absolutely a guy that you should be looking to offload at this point if someone is still trying to buy into the name.
But I think he's going to have, he's got to have a better second half. He has to have a better second half.
Does he?
I think so.
I don't know, man.
So. I think it'll normalize. I think you got to, I think that's just kind of how it works. Same thing with Harrison Smith. Started off slow, but you figure and also it would line up. I know that Corey's a pro and a vet, but no preseason, new team. It's different.
So last linebacker here, Connie, we want to touch on. This was a guy that you beautifully segued out of talking about showing your wiener for some reason last week. Willie Gay Jr., linebacker in Kansas City. We got all hot and bothered because his snap count was upticking every week, accumulating 2 weeks ago in the 47% of snaps. And last night played 2 defensive snaps. So preseason ranking of LB 24 and currently sitting at LB 112 is a big old wet fart for your IDP fantasy team, is it not?
It is. Just that sound clip gets me every time. But what was I saying about getting a wiener out? What was that?
I don't know. You just said you had your wiener out for some reason.
Never know.
When was this?
It was last week. Go back and listen. Cut the tape back
I'm about
again.
to say, cut the tape in here. I wish we had it on the sound. That's another thing we're going to have to ask Josh of stuff we know he doesn't have on the soundboard. Like, do you have that on there?
Do you have last week's whole episode? We can just play it
yeah.
back, and I can just fast forward like this.
Yeah,
Listen, let him have it. If you're still on the live stream with us, just make sure he has it. But yeah, that's
got to get better, Josh.
Go back and listen to it. I'm telling you, it's in there.
Yeah, it's tough to find anything to nitpick at with Kansas City, but that is, from that position, it's tough to see the drop he's had. But so I just want to go back to what you said, Markham, about you would sell any of these guys. You're not loyal to any linebacker. Would that include a guy like Leonard on there who is going to come back but has dropped because of not playing?
Hell yeah, you've been pretty good to sell Leonard at the beginning of the year. You would have made out probably just fine.
That's what I'll throw up another Boo Bam comment here. He said, I'd be selling high on name value, get a very serviceable LB and a pick in a dynasty league.
Yep.
You could sell Leonard right now for like a Avery Williamson plus a third or a second or something like that.
Interesting. I just hearing like what assets are worth, like defensively, it's interesting. Just like on the offense, like what offensive assets mean what, like from running backs and receivers and quarterbacks and tight ends and all that stuff. So
this has been a great reminder this season that LB is very replaceable.
Yeah, no,
there are very few guys that you can just plant your flag on that are going to be good.
they're the running back of the defense, I feel like.
Yep.
Here, let's scroll up through some of the names on this list. Top 36 linebackers: Anthony Walker, Vince Williams, Nathan Gary, B.J. Goodson, Kazir White, Devondre Campbell, Eric Wilson, John Bostic.
Yes.
To Eric Wilson.
Was that problematic? We're gonna get canceled for that.
100%.
Yeah,
Are we canceled right now?
Be careful, boys.
I clip this out, Josh.
Our boy Aluakon, Kyler Fackrell. I mean,
What the H?
what the H
is going on here?
If the Colts don't re-sign Anthony Walker because he's in a contract year, it's ridiculous. He's
going to get a lot of money though.
I know, but still, like, I don't want him to do like they did with Jarrell Freeman, where they let him go and go get paid by somebody like the Bears.
But then he does all those steroids.
He did do steroids. It's a hard example there. I don't think Walker's on steroids, man, but he's such a smart, good player. You just don't, when you miss Leonard.
Walker, don't do steroids.
Yeah.
Don't
Walker,
make us look bad.
Seriously, we love you too much. I know you're watching.
Don't
Anthony.
do this
Thank
to
you
us.
for tuning in.
So Boo Bam has a question. Is there a linebacker in Philly to own? Seems like it's Nate Gary, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nate Gary is the guy. We did get to see.
Nate Gary is a guy.
He's a guy.
He's a guy that's there.
He does exist.
We did get to see Davion Taylor get a little bit of run last week, and
That was the guy we were high on.
He had a few nice little clips. Very nice sideline to sideline speed. So, Gary he's gonna be fine. Teams love to pick on him. He's really bad.
But that's another linebacking core that is oh so gross. Good comment here from our boy IDP Bob. This whole Corey conversation seems suspect. As the new Corey Littleton manager in our main league, I'm not surprised that Bob is chiming in on defending his man.
Do he be out there listening? Listen, I like him, Bob. I think he's going to have a much better second half.
That's right. We all hope so. We want the best. We want the best for these players. We're not rooting against them, but we have to call a spade a spade.
Bob knows what he's doing. He's coming. I mean, you couldn't have had Corey for a third 4 weeks ago. No, he knows what he's doing. Getting in there low.
Follow?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move to D-line. Connor, this is one of your guys, so we'll kick it off with you. Josh Allen, preseason ranking D lineman 8, current ranking D lineman 53. Should we have confidence in our boy from UK?
Unfortunately, I seeing that drop is it's a little hard to kind of defend that. So same breath as Darius, right? Like I want to believe in him. I don't know if he's struggled with injury like
it's
Darius.
Injury. It's injury.
That's kind of what I figured. There's a little bit of injury going on there as well. But as of now, it'd be in that same Leonard position of, I would assume if he's able to come back, like Leonard will be able to after the bye, hopefully that, he's going to have production if he's on the field. But right now for him, it's getting on the field. So I guess it kind of be a wait and see.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he was kind of coming on before the injury. So he had 2 sacks in the game game before getting hurt. But he missed the last 2, so that's bringing him down on the year. But I think he's still an elite option. I like Josh Allen. He's gonna be fine.
But down at 53, I know injury can put you down there.
Stash him, if anything. Just like Leonard, like if you've had him or keep him. I wouldn't cut him if you think he's going to come back. Like he will be on the field if healthy.
I think
What's he have again?
I think he is a fantastic buy.
All right, I like that. What's his injury been? Do we know? Has it been something? Because there are injuries that are more concerning than others for defensive players. Like a quarterback, you don't want their shoulder hurt. You don't obviously want like ankle or knee injuries for wide receivers. Defense, you don't want them to lose their head or anything.
That's so true, Josh.
I call it like it is.
Listen, you're like so elite at vamping.
Listen to this. Allen is tied for the team's lead in pressure with 13, despite playing 2 fewer games than almost the entire defensive line. He also leads the team in sacks with 2. And while he hasn't dominated the line like many thought he would this season, he's still amongst the team best defenders. So
that's great pull, Connie.
Yeah, I was trying to find the injury, but Markham beat me to it that it's a knee. So
and he's on track for week 7.
I love it.
Let's go. Get him back in. Come on, Josh.
Let's go.
Buy him. That's a great buy.
All right. What about this one? I have a feeling, Addy, that you might be selling this next guy. DeMarcus Lawrence, preseason ranking DL 11, current ranking DL 38. You are a manager in the XFFL. Speak on it.
definitely selling in that league. I have a lot of depth there at defensive end, but it's a lot of kind of disappointing depth. But one positive with DeMarcus Lawrence is the snap count has definitely trended up. So, first part of the year, the first 4 games, he was kind of looking like 50% of the snaps. Last 2 weeks, he's gotten 69% of the snaps and 65% of the snaps this week against Arizona. So we like seeing that. The pressure numbers have actually been kind of decent. So I mean, I think he's going to be fine. He's just likely a DE3 for you. He's not the DE2 we thought he might be.
Yeah, this is adjusting expectations, I think. And this guy is this next guy is a great example of that, is Trey Flowers. This is a bounce back candidate that we all liked in Detroit, preseason ranking DL 15. Not too far off that. Current ranking DL 21. So especially if you've got him as your D lineman 3, Addy, you are feeling very nice about Mr. Flowers.
Yeah, he's been solid. I mean, last week the snaps were down, so that's a little weird. He only played 28 snaps last week, so I don't know if he might have gotten banged up at all. But yeah, he's been fine. He's only had, 2 really bad weeks. I think he's kind of performed, kind of what people thought he would.
Yeah, I have him in several places, actually, because this was a guy I was very high on, along with DeMarcus Lawrence. Those were kind of my 2 bounce back guys along the defensive line. Lawrence hasn't quite lived up to expectations. It's been Aldon Smith out of nowhere. But Trey Flowers has, I think, performed pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even though it says what's the ADP here?
So he was D lineman 15.
So that was not the case in any of the leagues I did. Like he was basically, you forget about a guy like that.
He was going lower.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it was, I think when people are coming off of injury riddled seasons, they tend to be forgotten about.
Last name Flowers.
That's right. Yeah. We
covered that.
We have. He needs to do a name change. Connor, another Colts guy here. And another guy that we really like, Justin Houston, preseason ranking D lineman 20, current rank D lineman 32. Now, he put up a big goose egg. Up until this week, he'd been doing pretty well. I think that Houston might be hurt right now. I don't think that he's 100% healthy.
I could see that. And they've, that defense has almost did like the offensive line did last year. And I feel like that, D-line has been out there quite a bit. Those guys have been, trying to get some continuity. They've got some pieces coming back, like we mentioned with Trey coming back, hopefully after the bye. So hopefully he'll get a little relief. So that may make me fade him even a little more.
With Trey coming back, that's a great point.
So, I mean, again, if he's fighting injury, he may just be trying to hang on until Trey can come back. So I like Justin Houston. I liked his initial production. The goose egg makes me a little worrisome and a little more competition coming in that has fresh legs, assuming Teray is on track. Just something to keep in mind for a guy that I usually stand up for pretty big, but that is a fair criticism.
And it's been a hip injury. Hip injuries really, really worry me. So
with that for Houston, that's what he's kind of been dealing with.
Yes, because I'm looking from 5 days ago and the run up to the Bengals game. It says he was logging limited practices because of a hip injury.
Now he did play 46 snaps, so that's nice.
It is.
We'll see what it looks like though this week. He's
always been very streaky.
Yes,
always. It's not a guy that is. And that's another learning point from this year has been defensive line very streaky.
Yeah.
If you have a defensive lineman that is consistently putting up points, they are a rarity.
That's the position though.
It is.
But you get beat to death, man. I mean, no wonder guys get streaky and miss time and start playing hurt because, I mean,
and they can be taken out of the play. I mean, Aaron Donald, that's what's so remarkable about him is he does all of this getting double and triple teamed because he is a monster.
Yep.
But an offense can scheme to take him out of the play, whereas linebackers, not as much.
Yep.
Because those defensive linemen are eating up all these blocks. So Fantasy Guru Bro points out Myles Garrett, also in that category of consistent defensive lineman that you can start every week. We know is the manager in XFFL. We know Ben loves Myles Garrett.
But he's right. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 of those types.
Gems. Hold on to them.
Yeah,
those are not replaceable.
Yep.
Unlike linebacker, you cannot go find those guys on the waiver wire.
You cling to them. Cherish them.
There's been a couple but not as like there's been the Trey Hendricksons and the Leonard Williams, surprisingly, back from the dead,
Yeah.
that have been like top 24 so far this year. But
And unfortunately, we don't have Nick Bosa, no Daniil Hunter. That's a bummer. But those guys would be in that, category.
Absolutely. So there you go, Addie. Chamber of Screams.
Chamber of Screams.
We're really only screaming about the linebackers because it has been like pulling teeth this year.
Yeah, it's not been fun. We got to one of our leagues has like a coaching tab now. And
Reality Sports Online.
Yeah, so there's a coaching tab, so it shows like optimal lineups and what you did on the week. I have been by far the worst at that this year, just because I have a lot of messes like this.
A lot of names that you feel obligated to start.
Yes, and they've just been letting me down every
left,
week.
right, and center.
But we're gonna keep powering on. We're doing fine in most of the leagues. We're ready. We're ready for the second half of the year.
You would be such a good cliche machine.
Did RSO get back online?
They did. They had a rough week last week.
Were there a lot? I mean, I'm sure people were, but it's like I'm sure they spend a ton of like time and energy like keeping all that up. And
They're
I'm sure
a three-man team.
I was gonna say, people seem like they were coming out of the woodwork just like stressed out about it. And it's like, man, that's
everybody just chill out.
Yeah,
take a deep breath.
That seems like they do a lot of good for a lot of people to have fun all year long.
They don't charge enough for the platform.
Yeah,
no. Guys, like
that's not cool.
We know you're listening. Charge more. Like charge at least like.
I mean, you don't have to do that.
To charge it if it would help you hire more people to take some of the work off your shoulders. I would happily pay more for that platform.
I would pay. Yeah, I think you could do $19.99 easy.
I think you could do $1,000 a year. Easy. No problem. Adam would pay it for the entire league.
Think about what we're doing if we had like one person complain because like we didn't do a sode because of something. And it's just like, dude, this is a lot of work.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, this is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're having to do. So hey, guys, chill out.
Hey,
chill out.
go start your own show. Do your own fantasy stuff.
Yeah, run your own RSO site. It's that easy.
Yeah, it looks a lot easier than it actually is. Trust me.
We got to drink beers and come out here and talk football. Y'all don't understand what this is like.
It's just stressful.
This is hard to do week in and week out.
With us updating the board with some Halloween sounds, Markham and I are going to do some recon. I also put down here on the Google Doc possible Kirk Cousins. You like that sound clip? I don't know if we can use that without getting.
Connor, no.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
That'd be a good one.
And you said cherish it earlier. It made me think of, for the love of God, you got to cherish it. That may be a little long, but I like that one as well.
You could just say you have the cherish it part.
You gotta cherish.
I'm thinking of a lot of them now. I think it's like the Billy Madison, or no, maybe it was Happy Gilmore. No, it's Billy Madison. A simple no would have been fine.
You guys know we have 8 drops, right? We do not have like 42 drops.
Sounds like we got to get another board. Dueling boards.
Dueling boards.
Ooh, roadie versus roadie.
A roadie fest.
Yeah, we're gonna have a roadie off, so y'all stay tuned.
Good roadie versus an evil roadie.
Yeah, Halloween roadie with like the devil horns.
It's spooky.
Well, we will have some spooky drops. Adam is going to do all that work this next week, and you will not hear those because he will forget until the last minute and try to cram it in, and we won't get it done in time.
You can count on me. I won't let you down. Never have, never will.
But speaking of letting you guys down, make sure you tune in to DF Triple S on Thursdays now in the Big 3 feed. Adam, you guys are a fish now. You're in the feed. Some great feedback on the first episode.
Beautiful, I guess Big 3 IDP feed debut.
That's right.
It went well.
Went very well.
We're gonna keep doing more and more prep work, tightening it up, making it more professional. But the drops were lovely. I think that I think it went really well.
Bright future. We've got you covered. Like,
we got it all for you.
We got the injury report with Dr. Leesus, who we're trying to get hooked up with Dr. Chow now. It's a lot of fun.
Big teams.
Just always big.
Who does Dr. Chow work with now?
Oh, I was gonna say something to Leesus. He works with the Proud Boy Clay Travis.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh well,
that was unfortunate. I was like, I don't really want to.
We rescind our recommendation.
Yeah.
But no, that's for Dr. Leesus. That is the top of the injury report mountain is Dr. Chow.
Just steer clear of Clay Travis.
Markham loves Clay Travis.
Clay Travis, Proud Boy.
All right, we're going to get the hell out of here before the fireworks start going off. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Clay, what'd you think about LeBron getting number 4? I know you're not the biggest fan.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Consider going to anchor.fm/Big3IDP to support the show. You can do $1, $5, or $10 per month. And leave us a review over on iTunes. That really helps us out a lot. Shout out to our patrons, Jason, Nico, Lauren, and Aaron. We love you guys. Thanks for supporting the show. Should also mention, if you want to support the show, every episode description, there's a link right at the bottom. Check it out. But we appreciate you guys listening, tuning in. Thanks for those who watched on the live stream and added questions. Love you, Boo Bam. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments tonight. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy DFSSS on Thursday and the injury report with Dr. Leesus on Saturday. We'll see you guys next week.
Love you all.